Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. This is in honor of the eclipse. I guess we'll call this our blackout special. But there is quite a bit to go on like this week, so I wanted to go over a lot of these things prior to the market open. So thank you kindly for joining. My apologies that I'm a bit late today. Had an interesting morning with rearranging travel plans and whatnot. So I guess I should say howdy from North Texas at the moment anyway. So going into our markets, this is for Sunday, April 7th, 2024. As always, we're going to take a look at our MMRIs hovering around that 285 level. So risk has increased. So what happened Friday was extreme volatility was mostly because of the Fed president speaking. They were very hawkish about cuts, basically saying there won't be cuts anytime soon, and they're still looking at putting it off for even further. So now the market is actually underpricing Fed cuts, and we watched a major pullback before it went back into the green on Friday. So I left this up so we could see the comparison because it went all the way from dropping to neutral at 54 to recovering well back into the green area by the end of the day. So for this week, we're watching the CPI. It's the core pricing index. So that's a major indicator for inflation, and we're expecting more volatility this week. So greed still dominating at the moment. So far, the trend kind of had a halt. It appears to have reversed, but it has not confirmed yet. So I think there's more to run in this market, is what it's looking like at the moment before we call a reversal in the trend. We're going to wait for that confirmation. So, with calendar and earnings, we've got crude oil coming up, the big one Wednesday, CPI, a lot more coming out, and the 10-year note auction. So, Thursday, we're getting jobless claims, PPI, as well as the 30-year bond auction. And one thing I would like to bring up about that is that Fed is now openly purchasing back the debt. And the narrative is that basically they've got a lot of tax revenue and cash on reserves now that they need to convert it, basically lower uh, their debt ratio, so basically saving them money that way, and also providing liquidity to the market. So that's the narrative of why they are the ones purchasing. So looking at weekly indicators, this is another story that came out, is saying soft landing is here. Well, if you just took everything at it as it is at the moment, I suppose you could argue that, but it's not finished yet. So maybe soft landing for right now, but there's still more to go. So I'd like to speak a little bit about banks and central banks in specific. Bank of America came out with $110 billion in paper loss, meaning they're losing on this interest rate issue that they're doing. And they have more loss than the other banks. So we are getting reports of earnings from the major banks on Friday, as well as JP Morgan Chase, which I expect them to be earning quite a bit despite the rates. So we'll see what that does. We've got China's yuan red line response. Basically, what this means is since the yuan has depreciated so much, it has gotten out of control weak. So they're going to expect it to step in and do something about it. Because they can either just watch it become weaker for a while or step in to try to strengthen it, which would basically hurt the dollar and affect markets again. So we've got concerns as China and the US continue to stack Bitcoin. And they're talking about decentralization or manipulation of the price, but they already do this with precious metals. They already own quite a bit, but they already cannot own a certain amount because it's already out to the regular market and they can't really manipulate that side of it. So we'll keep that in view. We've got Indonesia's largest bank. Customer savings can vanish with a click. Now, this article is focused on hackers, but the truth is, if you have your money in a bank, it can vanish with a click, or it's already vanished because you don't have it with you. Because they can just do bail ins at any moment. If you're new here, get your money out of the bank as soon as you can, only keep in what you need to pay bills. So, going over to energy and commodities, gold is the big story because it's got a huge surge. So, China has been purchasing this 17 months on record now. So, they've been purchasing for a long time, but also Russian central bank as well as others. So, I just want to bring up this headline somebody put in. Surging gold in Vietnam spurs angst over smuggling dong. So the dong is their currency, but whoever came up with that headline, they've got quite the sense of humor. So Zimbabwe, I want to bring this out. Everybody's talking about them launching a gold backed currency, and that is inaccurate. That is wrong. They are not launching a gold backed currency. It may be pegged to gold as well as a basket of other currencies or commodities, but it cannot possibly be pegged to gold backed, which means gold backed means you can take it to the bank and redeem it for gold. And they won't do that. So, moving on, I brought BlackRock in here because aside from reporting earnings later, they announced that they're expanding into the infrastructure sector. So, this is a huge deviance from their core business. And I just find it interesting that that is the way that they're headed. Something to watch. On the war front, we've got a couple of things I wanted to bring up. This is talking about Lancelot, an aging B-1B bomber. But the point is, they are basically dusting off all of the old equipment that we have in the United States and putting it back into service. They're low on equipment and everything that we left over when they basically left Afghanistan. So we're having a hard time supporting all of these wars. And then just this with Zelensky, because he's still pushing for more support and he's warning of a dwindling air defense missiles. So I think he's doing his own sign language there for the dwindling missiles. So wanted to bring you a couple of lava updates. Hopefully, I made you laugh today. Um, this first photo, purple lightning, that's Dallas, and that's real. That's not artificial intelligence, and it is not touched up. So I don't know. Purple lightning's not really a good sign. Anyway, I'm still traveling. And then we also had an issue with Southwest with one of the, basically the cowling to the motor. It's the cover, and it ripped off and blew out. But I don't fly Southwest, so I'm not too concerned either way. I'm still going to go. So one other thing I would like to bring up, and this is has been that whenever someone joins the military, they have to take an oath and swear allegiance to the Constitution and serve the American people. They do not swear an oath to serve the president or any other quote unquote leader or party. And this is very important because this keeps them, it's supposed to keep them from being apolitical, swayed, or controlled. And the part that I find interesting is that they are putting this out in the military, basically, their newspaper for the bulk of the services. So, kind of highlighting that, and I find the timing interesting. So, with that, I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. I'll check in with you as soon as I can. My apologies again on the timing, but until I see you again, my friends, stay free.